What's going on, guys? SmartHelping.com here. We've got pipeline management with using date functions in Google Sheets. I've done a fair amount of work with this kind of logic for different groups and individuals. And what I was going to start by actually doing a video that explains all the different functions that have to do with the date, but then I got basically as far as days and date network days, and I was going to do like use cases for every single one, and I got to this one, and this like really it needs to be its own. So I guess that's what I'll do with these as I go along. So this is going to be a template that shows you how to track different events in your pipeline. And you can track the time between events, and you can do conditional formatting based on various defined values for how much time it has taken or the running clock of how much time has passed since um, an event has been in the works. And then I've also added some automated filtering so you can see on a separate sheet from your pipeline all of the, for example, uh, all of the unique items that have met the criteria for being red and are closed or open or are closed in green. So first of all, you just got a couple functions up here. Um, Date value converts a provided date string into a value. So that could possibly be important, but that's not really what we're looking at here. Then we've got the today function, which we use a lot. That allows you just to embed. You can see you can do equal today, and it gives you the current date, and you can use that within functions. So that's used a lot. And then we've got day, which we're not using too much here. Just you can get the day of the month of something. It could be relevant. I've put in notes here too to help you kind of go through. And then we've got the days function, which is what we're using for the first example. And that just simply tracks the number of days between two dates. And here's the function for that, just days. And then you've got your end date and start date. So also note that this template will be free and downloadable in the YouTube comments or description section. I'm just giving this away. Um, but I will also give you a link to my paid models as well, so you can take a look at those. But this will be free to view, and you can go ahead once you go to the Google Sheet from the link in the description box. You can just simply hit File and make a copy right here, and then you'll have your own version that you can edit. The version you get when you first hit the link will not be editable, but anybody can get around that by just going to File, make a copy. So having all that said, let's actually get to it here. So we've got our pipeline, and this is just an example pipeline. You could have unlimited number of unique things that you're tracking. I just did 5 here. This could be tens of thousands um, of events going down. The conditional formatting and all that's not hard to do uh, and adjust. And note, I guess that's the other thing is if you want me to personally work on this for you and put something together that fits your specific pipeline, I can do that at my standard billing rate. If you go to smarthelping.com, you can see in the contact hourly services, I've got my rate here per hour. It's $75 an hour. Then anything over 8 to 10, I give a little bit of a discount. And that can be retro active as well. So anyway, so this is the pipeline. So you've got like unique ID 1, 2. These could be um, names of different clients that you have documents for. It could be just different document IDs, just something unique that you're tracking. Um, how it moves through your process. One of the common things is you'd have a mortgage, and so with a mortgage, you've got the person's unique ID or their name, and then you'd have basically where they're at in the mortgage process because you've got different things that where documents happen. You definitely would have more than 3 here. You could have like 10 or 15 events, and you want to see or you want your workers to enter the date when something happens, and then that way you can just have real uptime view of how long things have taken to go through the pipeline and also where they are at from start to finish and how long that took. And this should help improve efficiency and get people on the ball, and it also is good for organization. So what do we have here? So we've got unique ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's look at the first event. So I've got here for the first one, the event 1 starts at 1/1/2018. So this could be like the initial um, date of, you know, escrow clears, or some significant date where you're going to start tracking. Funds could have been sent to you, so now that starts the ball rolling. So what would happen is whoever's doing your data entry would just simply manually enter that date, and then the clock starts ticking. So let's clear out event 2 and 3. So now you can see it turned red, but we'll go into the colors in a second. So we took out event 2, so that means the time from event 1 to 2, you can see here, is now 89 days because it's going from the start date of 1/1 to today's date, which is 3/31. And it's just counting every single day. It's not counting only work days, or it's not counting holidays, or it is counting holidays, weekends, everything. So it's just the total amount of days. We'll get into only counting work days and accounting for holidays in the other next pipeline down here at the end of the video. But let's just we're looking at the total number of days that have passed. So it's going from 1/1 to the current day today, and we're saying, well, there's been 89 days, and since no date has been filled into event 2, this assumes event 2 has not happened yet, so it's a running clock. Now here is the cool thing. We are looking, we're giving a set limit, and this could change. You could actually set this limit for each event separately, but right now we've done an overall one, so it's going to look and measure this amount of time from event 1 to 2 and see if it's greater than, or if it's less than or equal to 40, or if it's greater than 40. And we've set the rule up so that if it's less than or equal to 40 days, then it'll be green. If it's greater than 40, it'll be red. So now let's just play around with this. So if we say, well, let's say this actually came in on 3/1. Now it's green. And the reason why it's green is because from 3/1 to today, it's actually only been 30 days. And if we change this to say 25, it would go back to red. Put it back to, let's do 35. And so that is how that is working. And you can see updated real-time version of where everything is per clients. We could stick a filter on here, and you could filter if you just want to see certain clients or unique IDs. That's no problem. Now this is showing, since this is blank, it's obviously event 2 hasn't started yet. So let's actually, I didn't want to get too complicated on the formulas, but we'll put in if blank logic. So if event 2 is blank, then just be blank. Otherwise, do the function. And let's see, so this is still red. Oh, right, because it's event. It should be looking at event 3 from 2 to 3. Saying 30 days. Let's see. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So we actually have to put 0 in here to get it, and that'll just, so event 3 is green because, well, event 2 hasn't started yet, so it's in the green. Now let's say event 2, let's say, they got the document, it's processed, so now we'll do enter a date in there to justify that it happened. Let's say it took till the 5th, and that was only 4 days, so it's going to stay green. And then event 3 is going to look from the event 2 date to the event 3 date and say, well, it's only 26 days, so that's also green. Let's say if we put this down to 20 days, it'll turn red, which it does there. So you can see, well, we've got, for this person, on event 3, it's red. So what's taking so long? Figure out, go make some calls or whatever, because since event 2 started, it's been taking too long. It's past the threshold. So let's say event 3 finally happens. Let's say it happens at 3:29. Now it's still red because it took 28 days, so that was too long. Uh, Now the actual account is green. And the reason why it's green is because this is looking at how long the entire process took from start to finish, which is 28 days here. So you can see we've got the days function today, and it's doing the end date, start date, so it's doing today, and then the start date would be before. If nothing has been entered into column D as an end. If something has been entered into event 3, this is our last event. Now, obviously, if you have more events, you'd have to play with the logic so that the last event is your end date. So this is saying if there is a date in here, it's ended. And if so, we don't want to look at today. We want to look at the actual date here. So we look at D4 as the end date and the start date at B4, and it just simply counts the days from the very start to the end. Populates it here. Now this is also the sum of these two, which is an easier way to do it, but I just wanted to use the formulas, the day formulas logic. But you can see the sum of these all equal what this is. And since it's 28, well, we're saying it took too long to go from event 2 to 3, so that's red. But to go from start to finish, it only took 28 days. Our threshold for start to finish is 46, so that's going to be green here. If we wanted to say this was 35, or let's say 27, now it goes red. If we say it's 80, now they're all green except for this one that took 87 days. And that's how this logical system has been set up. I know people are using this in real time and it's very helpful. Anybody that has things they have to track through time and they want to see a quick update visual on it, they would be this would be useful. There's also plenty of customizations we could do. For example, we could add a helper column here that says, if the total time is greater than our end date thing, then we'll say check, otherwise good. And you could just run this all the way down to the bottom, and then you can run a filter. You could just simply filter this, and we'll keep this in here for now. And you want to see only, oh, we got to lock this, lock J3 up here. Hold on one second. There we go. So we want to check now. We only want to show the rows that say check. So just uncheck that. And there we go. It says, well, you've only got one that you really want to check here because it's taken 87 days and your threshold was 80. And it'll just show that. And that's good if you have thousands of records. You just want to see certain ones. You can do that. And there's also all kinds of other helpful logic that you may want to implement here. You could do counts. You want to check, there's all kinds of different things you can do. But this is kind of the base pipeline style. And I think I covered that. Basically covers all of the logic that goes on here. You will be entering, if this is, these are all data entry cells, and that's why I put manual entry up here at the top, right here. And if you have everything cleared out and you just have start dates for all these, you can see event 2 is ongoing because since it has started, so it's counting the clock from the start date to the current day. And you've got that there. You've also got the start to the end date, which is actually the same as this since, there's been nothing has happened yet besides the entry. Now, if you close that out, let's say we will also do the same logic here. So if B4 equals blank, then 0. And there we go. So now if you really had it all cleared out, then you see all, greens here and nothing here, and you could just start it up. I'll just put dates in here for you to see. And just put some in here. There we go. So we at least have one full one done. I don't want to waste your time by entering all these. I'll do it at the end or, after the video. But you can kind of see how it works. That's pretty much it. I guess the only other piece of logic that is helpful is this filtering. So I've got it set up so it will look, right now I think the formula, it only goes from A4 to G8. So you'd have to update that formula to go basically, you can remove the 8 at the end of this and it will look indefinitely down. So it'll pull anything, all the way down here, and I'll just update all of them. And you can see here the red pipeline, we've got a couple, so that means these are all open, so they haven't hit the end date yet, or event 3 has not been entered. And they're all red, which means that it means that their total time that has been taken since the start. Let's see. What do we do here? We looked at if D is 0, if G is greater than the pipeline. So if this is, oh, right. So we looked at, it's basically the time from the start to the current or end date. And so all these are, these 4 are over 80. So you can see those 4 right here. They're still open and it's taking too long. Now, if we change this down to 60, you can see basically the only ones that are going to come through, let's change it to 85. So now only the ones that have been taken 87 or 86 days since the very start are going to come up here. And that's all one function and it does everything. Now there's none that are closed and are red. Let's try to make one closed and red. If we do that, if we simply just enter, well, let's just put this lower, it'll be easier. So now there's only one that's been closed here, so the first one, and there it is there. Now if we want another one to come through, let's say the last one, let's make it close. Let's say this came in on the, oh, so it took 5 days for go to event 1 to 2, then to go from event 2 to 3, let's say it took too long. 64 days, so that's over the 40. So now unique ID 5 should be coming through, and there it is. And that will work as many rows down as you have gone. Now we've got no green closed now, but let's try to make one of these green close. Let's do this one. So let's say one. It took 15 days from event 1 to 2, then 2 to 3. It took, let's say this can't be over 40 days, so let's just say, there we go. So it took a total of 21 days from start to end. So it's green, and there you have it. And then you could also track on this, like in this pipeline, you could have things that say like, the agent that's handling it, all their kind of unique IDs that can be added. And then you could look at, you can see all the green ones that have been closed. And if you had all the different unique IDs of the agents that are handling each of these, you could then have a count of, how many green, closures has agent 1 has agent 2 had, and then you could do summaries by month as well. There's all kinds of different reportings that you could also automate with that I can do. But this at least just shows you, the functionality that you have with Google Sheets and managing like a document pipeline or any kind of pipeline of stuff. It could be supplements. If somebody paid you for an order, the pay date, you got dates that different things happen, and you can track all that too. Now the only other thing I want to show you is the working days. So this is the same exact template as regular pipeline. The only difference is we're only looking at the net working days between events. So that means it only looks at, well, first of all, you can define when your weekend is. If you look at this description here, if you put a 1, it assumes weekends are Saturdays and Sundays, 2, Sunday, Monday, etc. But it always is going to assume a weekend is 2 days worth of time. You've also got holidays here that you can list. So you can list all the holidays for the year, and this will check and only count the days that are not a weekend, as well as don't fall on a holiday. So you can see here is 10. We've got a holiday on 2/2. If we take this holiday away, this 10 should go up to 11. Unless it falls on a weekend, which it looks like possibly could have. Oh wait, sorry, that's event 1. We'd be event 2, or that's from 1 to 2. Event 2 to 3 is the one that affected. So 14, if we remove this, it should go to 15, which there it is, 15. So we'll undo that. So it's basically going to give you, if you want to make your deadlines, your thresholds here only business days rather than the total days, this is the version that you could use, and it works the same exact way as this. Same style, same conditional formatting. Um, if it's, if event 1 to 2, if any event takes more than 15 days is red, if it's less than or equal to 15 days is green, and then same from start to finish with the red and green. That applies to this first column. And then you could easily use this filter formula and do the open, closed, and green, or red and green open, red open and closed, and green closed. You could also add green open if you wanted, all kinds of different things. But yeah, this is a really common use case and a broad use case. A lot of people could benefit from this, and because of that, I'm just going to give it away for free. And the other reason why it's free is because you're likely going to need customization and different things. So, you can hire me and I'll do that for you. It might take a couple hours. Usually between 2 and I'd say 5 hours is common for people to use me for. All right, that's all I got for you today. Have a great weekend.